Welcome back to the Red Stool, and today we're talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 349, Battle Flame. And man, Horikoshi, he's just been going off in the war arc lately. And with just this chapter, all the hype, everything that he's preluding to going forward, it's crazy. Because first off, we have Deku, and right now he's feeling pretty frustrated. One, he's already at the wrong battlefield, and two, he can't seem to get to UA fast enough. Of course, he's using all of his quirks like float and Fajin, plus the air pressure to shoot himself through the air. So he's got this new pseudo flight, but it's not fast enough. And he's seriously considering, you know what, if I just go Fox 100%, I'm pretty sure I could get there even faster. Thankfully, the second user of One for All, he comes out and he kind of schools Deku really quick. He's like, hey, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna destroy your body, you're gonna destroy your battle gear before you even get to the fight, and then what? You're gonna be useless to yourself and everyone else. You gotta think with your head going forward, keep your emotions in check, trust your friends. You have capable people there that are fighting this battle right now. And also he kind of takes this time out just to ask Deku a question. He's like, hey, have you tried using my quirk? Because we know that he was one of the first people to actually fight and stand against All for One in the early days of the superhuman society. And whatever his quirk is or was, when you add All for One's ability to it and just how much it's all morphed and kind of become one quirk, really, it's too dangerous to just use haphazardly. And the way he speaks and alludes to it, it's almost like it's like a nuke. Like, this is Deku's killer last resort option that's going to be useful in very specific situations. And knowing that information, this is what he could possibly be using to level the playing field with Shigaraki and just how absolutely powerful he is. Because if Deku now has this all-powerful super nuke of a quirk that he can just unleash on Shigaraki, maybe he can one-shot him. But we also know that Deku, he's not heading into the battle with this mindset. And that's why the second and the third user didn't even want to talk to him initially, because he wants to save Shigaraki. So even though Deku could have this like massive nuke of a weapon of a new quirk, it's all in, will he be willing to use it? Will he be willing to activate it to destroy Shigaraki? And currently, my position on that is no. He wants to save Shigaraki. So that's definitely something to keep tabs on. Also, the crazy part about this is, even with it, he might not be able to beat Shigaraki, because right now, as readers, we don't know what his quirk was. But All for One does, because he fought him and beat him. So if All for One knows what this new quirk that Deku has is, and he's seen the trend, okay, he has all the other users' quirks, then so will Shigaraki, since they share consciousness. So the crazy part in the story to keep in mind is, we don't know, everybody else doesn't know what this quirk is, but All for One and Shigaraki definitely know what it is. So I like that, how that's like really good writing too, but just by Horikoshi, because since All for One knows, he probably has a plan to counter it, which is, I don't know, like all the implications right there alone is just enough to make me go crazy for hours. But when we get back to our other battlefields, and I like the narrative of this chapter where it's just like, even though this is a war for superhuman society, all of these battles are being fought by different individuals and their ideals. So everyone is almost out for themselves right now. Yes, it's heroes versus villains, but everyone is out for their own ideal sense of justice and freedom. Like when you have Toga going up against Uraraka and Froppy, it's a battle of what does it mean to be normal in hero society. Because Toga's normal is, I'm so infatuated and in love with you, I want to share that love by becoming you, stabbing you, drinking your blood, seeing you all bloodied and beaten up. That's her normal. That's expression of love for her. And of course, in society, there's no room for that. How can she ever be accepted? So you have her and her, you know what, I'm going to force society to change to me. I'm not going to live inside of society and find a niche where my quirk would be accepted. Like somebody like Sue, who's a frog person. And we see that her entire family are frog people. So they've been bullied growing up and they've gone through a lot. But Sue has found a way to be normal within society's bounds and limits and live her life happily. But that's not something that Toga's going to do. Toga is going to try and force society to change, to accept her normal and make what's normal to her the standard for everyone else, or live her normal life regardless of the consequences. And then, the last layer of this is Uraraka, who is a self-described oddball in the fact that she wants to save villains. She doesn't want to just defeat them. She wants to save Toga because she sees how misguided and mistreated she is in society. So all of this just makes this entirely complex situation where they're all fighting it out over who's right, who's wrong in hero society. What should, not even hero society, but what should superhuman society be like? And then you have the old guard in All for One, who's been ruling the hero society from the shadows, fighting off against Hawks and Endeavor, representing some of the hero society's darker traits, where you have quirk marriages and basically quirk manipulation to get stronger and better quirks. And hero societies, basically Hawks existed to do the safety committee's dirty work as well, and that's the job that he was trained and groomed for. So those are the darker sides of hero society you have going at it in the background. It just makes all of this a complex situation that's more than right or wrong, and it's all about what is the evolution of society, just superhuman society in general, going to be after this. And I like how the narration just transfers from battlefield to battlefield, ending off in Toya/Dabi. He's kind of giving like this emotional speech about how, man, this where we're at right now, the Camino Ward, this is when I stepped out into villainy, when I saw that fight between All for One and All Might, and how All for One stood against All Might regardless of what he felt. This is where I got my villainous start. It's all calling back to that moment when All Might points at the camera and he says, "You're next." You have somebody like Dabi who's on the other end of that camera saying, "You're right, I am next. It's time for me to step out. Time for me to be the villain that this world needs to right the wrongs of hero society." And in this battle is basically all of Endeavor's legacy, every part of it. The quirk marriages, everything he's done as a hero, everything that he's done to his family, it's all coming to a head against each other. And that, again, that in itself is just, it makes for a crazy fight. Plus you have Dabi, who, it looks exactly like that moment when he awakened his fire quirk when he was a child in the mountains, where he's burning his body away because he's losing control of his emotion. He sees his brother, he sees his father's lackeys, and he's just like, you're all just tools being used by him and being used by hero society. It's time for us to evolve. Hero society has failed to evolve over the years, and that's why all of this has happened. And he even preludes to the quirk singularity, where people in society are eventually going to become too strong, that eventually they may destroy the world with these new quirks that they had. And I think the subtle hinting that Horikoshi is doing, because of course the last chapter you have Dabi, his body's burning away, you can see his teeth, you can see his muscles, and he's getting too hot for his own good as he tells us the story of how he became Dabi. And what I think this is, he's not going to kill himself by burning his body away. He's evolving his body physically to match his quirk. Because think about it. Of course, he's marketed as Endeavor's greatest failure, but he is a genius just alone in the fact that as a child, he was able to awaken and evolve his quirk, taking his flames even stronger than Endeavor's, turning them blue permanently, not just in an instant, but making the strongest fire quirk we've ever seen when he was under 10. Now we know that because of what Shigaraki said in the last chapter, where your body can evolve to match your quirk. What if Dabi is doing that same thing on a smaller level, where we're going to get some new crazy skeletal form of him? This is his body's evolution to match his new superpowered fire quirk. And that that's what I'm excited for. That's my theory. That's what I'm excited to see. And I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. This chapter has just given us so much to speculate on, and it's also given us a lot of time to speculate on it because we won't be getting the story of Dabi next week, but the week after. And okay, I get it, Horikoshi, you got to rest. He's been going crazy for these past couple weeks. It's been a while since we had a break, so we can tolerate it, but it just leaves so much to the imagination as to what's about to happen in regards to the quirk singularity. What if we see the quirk singularity fold out in this entire battle and there's no more society left after all of this? What if what's going on in Japan right now isn't isolated? What if all over the world, All for One's forces have made their move and Hero Society had to make their move against him? And this is like an entire worldwide event. It's a lot to think about, but as I always say, please let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Drop a like, subscribe, follow me on all social media at DatBoyBestBoy. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to catch y'all later, all right? Peace.